Welcome to the Changeover. We are coming at you hot today, powered as always by secondserveaces.com, your absolute home for elite tactical breakdown. I am Bhaskar, your resident editor-in-chief, and today we have a massive show. We are dissecting Arthur Phil's making absolute history in Cincinnati against Frances Tiafoe, Coco Gauff finally finding her serve to down Jessica Pegula, and some breaking, rather worrying news about Big Four's physical status heading into New York. Joining me to tear the data apart are our resident analytical guru, Elena Cruz, and the man who lives for the physical grind, Leo Sterling. Let's get into it.
Oh my God. Hey guys. I am literally so glad to finally be sitting down in the studio. You would not believe the drive over here. My Uber driver?
Let me guess. Another Novak disciple?
Yes, literally the entire ride from the airport was this intense lecture on why Novak is the undisputed GOAT. I tried to show him some return depth scatter plots on my phone, but he was not having it. He just kept gesturing wildly in traffic.
That is incredible. I hope you tipped him in tennis balls. But look, we have to start with the absolute madness that went down in the Cincinnati final. Arthur Phil's taking down Frances Tiafoe 6-3, 1-6, 6-neo. Elena, I edited Marcus Thorne's raw tactical piece on secondserveaces.com this morning, and the numbers on that third set are wild. What did you see?
Okay, so if you look at the spreadsheet, the variance in this match is just insane. Like a 6-0 third set in a Masters 1000 final? That does not just happen because of a drop in focus. Fee was doing something really specific with his forehand heavy topspin, pushing Frances way behind the baseline.
Right, but let's acknowledge Elena's point about the depth first. Fee was absolutely painting the back foot of Tiafoe. But for me, it was the physical drop-off. You could see it in the third. Frances looked spent. The intensity required to play that heavy, physical style?
Wait, really? You think it was pure fatigue? Because in the second set, Tiafoe absolutely dominated. He looked like he had all the momentum.
That's the trap. The second set was a physical check that his body simply couldn't cash in the third. He emptied the tank to get that 1-6 and then, boom, the cliff. Fee, on the other hand, looked like he could have played a fourth set.
Exactly. And if you look at the average rally length in that third set, it plummeted. Feast was winning the under 4-shot rallies by a ridiculous margin. He was just stepping up and crushing the first ball.
It's historic for Phils, though. First 500 or 1000 level title on hard courts for him, right? The kid is showing serious tactical maturity. Our comment section on secondserveaces.com is absolutely blowing up about his movement.
His movement is pure, raw power. It reminds me of the mid-80s clay courters who just refused to slide out of position. They just planted and exploded.
Okay, Dad. Let's keep it in this century. But yeah, his lateral recovery was incredible. He was recovering to the middle of the court 0.4 seconds faster than he did in the semifinals.
Speaking of recovery and physical tolls, that actually brings us directly to some breaking news. Frances Tiafoe has officially withdrawn from the US Open mixed doubles draw due to a wrist injury.
Oh, that is a massive blow. A wrist injury right before a major? That is the worst nightmare for a guy who relies on that whip-like forehand release.
Totally. If his wrist is compromised, his entire kinetic chain is off. He won't be able to generate that heavy topspin to keep opponents deep. It makes total sense why he'd pull out of the mixed doubles to save his singles run.
Yeah, the fans in our forums are pretty devastated. That mixed doubles pairing was highly anticipated, but from an editor's perspective, looking at the workload, it's the smart play. You can't risk a full tear.
Absolutely. Singles is the bread and butter. If you're carrying a knock, you don't play extra sets just for the crowd. You preserve the machine.
Which brings us to someone who actually fixed her machine, Coco Gauff. She beat Jessica Pegula 6-2, 6-4 to take the Cincinnati title. And oh my God, the serve metrics were like night and day compared to last month.
This is what I wanted to talk about. We just published a piece on secondserveaces.com detailing her biomechanical adjustments. Leo, did you see the change in her toss height?
I did. She lowered the apex just enough to stop her trophy position from collapsing. It's a much tighter, more repeatable motion now. No more chasing the ball up into the lights.
Yes, like her double fault percentage dropped by almost 40% in this tournament. She wasn't giving away free points on second serves, which forced Pegula to actually play defense on the return.
Which is great because as a recreational player with a terrible backhand, watching someone struggle with their serve hits way too close to home. Seeing Coco solve that in real time is inspiring.
It's pure mental toughness. She put in the hours on the practice court, ignored the critics, and adjusted the biomechanics under extreme pressure. That's champion behavior.
Totally. Pegula looked like she was constantly guessing where the serve was going, which is rare for her because she's usually such a clean returner.
It really sets up an incredible US Open. Alright, we are going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we'll dive deeper into the draw and see how these Cincinnati results shake up the favorites. The absolute chaos at the top of the US Open draw. I mean, my inbox has been melting down for the last hour. Jannik Sinner is officially out of Flushing Meadows, and suddenly the entire tournament landscape has just shifted on its axis.
It is like wild. My spreadsheets literally had Sinner as a co-favorite with Novak. But with him out, the geometric probability of us getting another Alcaraz-Djokovic final just skyrocketed. It's like basic math now.
It's a massive blow for Sinner. But look, this is what I always talk about when it comes to physical durability. The US Open is a brutal, hot, 2-week grind. If you aren't at 100%, that hard court will chew you up and spit you out.
Exactly, Leo. And our team over at secondserveaces.com just published a massive piece analyzing how this exit changes the seeding paths. If you guys want the actual tactical depth on who benefits most from Sinner's absence, you need to check out the site.
Yeah, and hopefully the readers on secondserveaces.com don't have to deal with my Uber driver from this morning. I was literally late because he wanted to debate Novak's draw for 20 minutes. I was like, dude, just let me get to the studio.
Did you tell him about Novak's depth? Because that's the differentiator. With Sinner out, Novak's return game is going to absolutely suffocate the lower seeds in his quarter. They won't even be able to breathe out there.
Totally. But don't sleep on Carlos either. His court coverage is just insane. But hey, speaking of grinding on hard courts, we need to talk about what's happening down in Mexico. The Monterrey draw is getting super interesting.
Yes, let's talk about Cristina Buxa versus Anna Bonda. This is a fascinating tactical matchup on paper. Our writers put up a great head-to-head preview on secondserveaces.com this morning.
Bucha is a fighter. She doesn't have the biggest weapons, but she plays with that old-school grit. She makes you hit that extra ball. Bondar is going to have to be incredibly disciplined to break her down.
Mathematically, Busa's return percentages on hard courts are actually super underrated. Like, she doesn't hit clean winners, but she gets so much depth on her returns that it completely neutralizes serve-dominant players. Bondar's first serve percentage is going to be the key variable here.
Well, as a guy with a terrible backhand, I always appreciate players who win with smart placement rather than just raw power. But speaking of raw power, what about Alicia Parks against Petra Marchenko?
Parks has the tools. That serve is absolute lightning when it's on. But she's been in a massive slump on hard courts. It's a mental block. Simple as that. She needs to build some momentum, and Marchenko is a very dangerous young opponent.
It's like a classic high-variance matchup. Parks's unforced error rate has been through the roof lately. If Marchenko can just keep the ball in play for the first 4 shots of the rally, the stats say she has a massive advantage. Parks needs to find her rhythm early.
It's going to be a fascinating battle of temperaments. And look, if you want the full breakdown of the odds, the head-to-head history, and our staff predictions for both of these Monterrey matches, you know where to go.
Head over to secondserveaces.com. We've got the AI-driven analysis, the tactical breakdowns, and everything you need to stay ahead of the game.
And hopefully no Uber drivers debating the GOAT rankings, just pure, clean data. Go check out the articles, guys.
That is a wrap for today's episode of The Changeover. Thanks for listening, and we will see you next time on secondserveaces.com.